In this task, we need to create namespace, deployments, and services to expose expose the paths. So let's do that. So I'm just gonna create a file, and then you just create any file with the .yaml file, .yaml extension, and then write the code. So for the namespace, just look for kodekloud, sorry, Kubernetes namespace, the sample YAML file. Of course, you can create with a simple command as well, but I just want to put everything together. So let's get this one and then create it. And namespace should be iron namespace, iron hyphen namespace hyphen data center. So just replace it. We don't need these labels, just remove them. And then if you want to separate the manifest file, just put three dots, three hyphens, and then start. Now we need a deployment, so let's look for that. Kubernetes deployment. Just get the sample file. So get it and paste it. Now add the values. Of course, I could have done this task just straight away, write the YAML file, and I can simply apply it. But I'd like to show you how to look for it. So that's the motive. That's fine. So now the deployment name should be this one. Okay, and we need to put those labels irongallery. So run irongallery, and the labels we need to, it's gonna look for these labels, the parts. So if you create, if you use three replicas, so it creates three parts with these labels. If you delete any one of the parts, so the replica set is going to look for these labels, and then it detects that, it's going to create a new part again. So it always makes sure that the given number of replicas. So in this case we just need one, so one replica, that's fine. Now we're done with these labels. Now the container name should be this one. So let's set that container name, and image should be cloud iron gallery 2.0. So set that. We don't need to worry about these ports because I think if they're running on, sorry, 80, let's see, you may use, yeah, they usually, if they didn't specify any port, so mostly that's a, it's a container, so it's I think we are exposing this to the web, so basically the port 80 should be opened. That's fine. Now what we need to do, we need to create resource limits. So if you look for resource limits Kubernetes, look for a sample file. So we need to set this, come back, and inside the containers. So we are applying on this container. So actually you can do control and right square bracket. That looks good. So we don't need to worry about the request. We're just setting limits because it shows that resource limits. Okay, so that's a 100 MB 100 MB RAM and 50 micro CPU. So that looks fine. And then we need to mount two volumes. So for that one, we need to create volume. So we need to create the volumes inside this spec. So this is the part configuration. So inside this, we need to do that. So we can do volumes and then name it. One is config, my bad, and we need to use emptyDir. EmptyDir, basically what happens, emptyDir means it's a temporary storage. So when you create this part, it usually deploys on a node. So if you recreate it and then if it creates on the same node, then you can have that storage part. But if it creates on different node, so this storage will be deleted. Even if you delete the part, if you recreate it, this storage will be gone. Just a temporary storage, not the permanent one. So that's fine. Now create another story, another volume, because it says first volume config and second volume should be images. So second value should be images. So that's fine. Now we need to mount them. First one should be mounted to this location. So the syntax for that, you can run volume mounts and volume name should be config and mount path. So just move this one, path is this one, and then we need to mount another volume. So the volume name is config. So the config should be, okay, we already mounted config, so this one should be images and mount path is at this location. Just do that. Yeah, that looks fine. So we're done with one deployment. Then we need to create another deployment. Oh, I forgot to put the namespace. So just copy this. Otherwise, this one is going to deploy in default namespace. So under metadata, put namespace and this one. Copy it. The same thing for another deployment as well. So for that one, I'm just gonna copy from here and then paste it. Now change the value. So this one should be named as, deployment name should be this one. Okay, namespace, we're going to use the same namespace. It says under the same for irondb, under the same namespace, create deployment for irondb. Okay, that the label should be db and mariadb. So edit the labels, db and mariadb. Just gonna copy paste, remove this r and then save. Yeah, we are done with that, and we need to, the container name should be this one for deployment 2. The container name is here, and image should be kodekloud irondb 2.0. That's, let's edit this, irondb 2.0. Okay, now this this container expects some environment variable, so we need to set that. So this one doesn't need any resource limits. I think it has one volume as well. Yes, the volume name should be db. So db with emptyDir, that looks fine. Just we don't need this one. And then we need to mount that volume. Just one volume. We don't need this part. Remove this one. It's under var lib mysql, and the volume name is db. That looks fine, but when it comes to this resource, I think these limits should be a bit right side because it should be under resources. I think let's go back to the docs, resource requests. Okay, we are missing this request part. No, we're not requesting, we just limits because resource requests and limits. Yeah, that looks fine. That's fine. Let's leave it for let's see while applying it. If you face any errors, we can figure it out. So we're done with that part. We're done with this DB. We mounted that where live MySQL. That's fine. Now we need to create these two services. So one of them is NodePort. So this is where we are exposing to the internet on this node, and then it is cluster IP. So if you don't specify any type, it usually takes cluster IP. So let's create a service, then services in Kubernetes, jump back, just get one of these. Now that looks fine. Now just put three dots and then copy it. The service name should be for the DB, it should be this one, and selectors for the DB we use DB MariaDB, right? So whenever someone reaches on, we need to change this for 3306 MySQL and then 3306. So whenever someone reaches on these ports, it usually looks for these labels, and then it forwards traffic to the matched ports with these labels. That's fine. And then we need to do type. If you don't specify any, it is usually by default it takes it as cluster IP, but I'm just making sure. So now this looks fine. Do we need to specify anything else? MariaDB selectors, yeah, that looks fine. Okay, we need to specify the namespace. I forgot that. So let me put 3 dashes. Let's get this namespace, because if you don't specify, it goes to the default namespace or current namespace, whichever checked out. So put that here and here as well. Now we need to change the service name. So the service name should be this one, irongallery service data center, and then it should be NodePort. The NodePort number 32678. If you don't, okay, we need to set node port as well. If you don't specify, it takes a random port. So 32678. This looks fine now. I forgot to assign environment variables. So before that, if you click on this app, it says 502 bad gateway. So once we deploy these, then let's see how it behaves. Now we need these variables. MySQL database. So what we need to do inside the container, env, and then hyphen name, give it, and the value. So just gonna copy it. We need, I think, 1 2 3 4. Okay, that's fine. 1 2 3 4. Yeah, now this MySQL database should be database underscore web. Value should be database underscore web, and then MySQL root password, MySQL root underscore password, and the value should be, okay, let's move this a bit. Looks fine now. So the password should be, it says, just put any complex password. Okay, let me put, for instance, test 156. That looks fine. Why it's been highlighted? May not be used and implicit may. Let's see. And then MySQL root, just password, MySQL password. Just gonna use the same. And then MySQL user, just gonna give it name Madhu. Yeah, this one is a bit outside. While copy pasting things may, that looks fine. I think that's it. Let's control A, copy it. Now create a file. Name it anything with the .ml and paste it. Enter. And then Control C. Okay, I forgot to change these ports as well. So these should be 80, 80. So this one doesn't. Oh, it needs. Sorry, my bad. Okay, that looks fine. I know. I'm sorry. We need to change the labels as well. This one should go to run and gallery, right? Iron gallery. Iron gallery. Let's see. Save it. Now rerun this cat. Now apply it. Yeah, that's been done. Now if you run the command kget PO, you don't see anything because you need to specify the namespace. That's hyphen namespace hyphen data center. Now you can see it's still creating parts. If you refresh it, oops, maybe, okay, it's still deploying. Let's see, it's running now. If you refresh it, now you can see. So let's test that. We use database underscore web. Database username is, I think, which one? I think I put Madhu, I think. Yeah, Madhu. Password is capital T test 156. Okay, we're not able to reach. That's fine. Let's check the task results because they specified that if you scroll down, we don't need to make connection between the databases. But everything we configured perfectly because we need to change this front end is able to reach that port. But let me try one more time. What's the database host name? I think database underscore web. That's what they're given, right? Yeah, that's fine. Let's check one more time. Database underscore web. Username is Madhu. Password is capital T test 156. I think. Let me check again. Yeah, test 156. That's fine. Let's check the task results. Yeah, that's been successful. Thank you so much for watching. This is how you can do.